Hey, what's up guys? It's Jordan with Teasers Books, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in September. If you didn't know, I started a new series on my channel where my Google Mini picks my TBR. Basically, I ask Google what kind of book I should read, and it gives me a very specific genre, and then I go and match that with a book on my TBR shelf and try to read it. So this was the first month that I did this challenge, and I was pretty successful. If you want to see what books Google picked for me, I will leave a link up above and down below so you can go check that out. Without further ado, let's get into the books I read. So the first book that I completed for Google's challenge is The Alchemist by Michael Scott. This book is about two kids who get dragged into a world filled with magic and mages and alchemy. They end up meeting the most famous alchemist of all time, Nicholas Flamel. Nicholas Flamel needs their help because the book that he uses to craft the elixir of life, which keeps him and his wife alive, gets taken from him. And the kids are the only ones who can really help him stop the person from creating their own elixir of life. This book has been on my shelf since I was in grade 8, maybe even younger than that, and I'm now 22, so it's been in my room collecting dust for a very long time. I am so happy that I finally read this because it's kind of relieving to get it off my TBR shelf, not gonna lie. And it's interesting because I feel like if I read the book when I was a little bit younger, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. So if I read it when I actually bought it, it probably would have become one of my favorite series because it is very similar to books I was reading back in middle school and elementary school, such as Harry Potter and Percy Jackson. It had very similar vibes and a similar writing style. Now, I just expect a lot more from a fantasy novel, and I don't even know if this is technically classified as middle grade. I believe it's actually considered a teen novel. I don't think that it really brought to the table what I was actually expecting from the story. It's hard to say. I'm very conflicted with how I feel about this and if I want to continue the series. Overall, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like I would recommend it a lot to younger children or even people just in their teens. I feel like they would probably enjoy this a lot more. I just think that it wasn't anything special compared to all the other fantasy books I read. The next book that Google got me to read was The Lost Book of the Light by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is the second book in the Red Scrolls of Magic series, which follows Magnus and Alec at different points throughout the Shadowhunter universe, and they just go off and solve adventures and mysteries, and it's a good time, honestly. I really enjoy reading these books because I find that we don't get to see a lot of their relationship development in the Mortal Instruments series, so this is an entire series dedicated to them learning more about each other and growing as characters, which is what I really enjoyed. I also loved that in this book specifically, the entire gang was involved throughout the entire story, and I was not expecting that because in the first book, there was some characters that we knew, but it was mostly Magnus and Alec throughout the entire thing. The original gang from the Mortal Instruments was active in this book, which was super fun. I love seeing their banter again, and it's such a cool experience to read about them as they're kind of maturing and growing up and seeing how their relationships have changed. I just really enjoyed that aspect of this story. If you couldn't tell, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it and enjoyed it a lot more than the first book in the series, so I'm really excited to see where Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu take the third book. The next book that I read wasn't one that Google picked for me to read. I know, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't resist. I got it in the mail and was just so excited to read it, and that is Loveless by Alice Oseman. This is about a girl named Georgia who is struggling to understand her sexuality. She doesn't understand the hype surrounding sex and relationships and doesn't know why everyone puts so much time and effort into it when she really has no interest. This book is one of the first books I've read that's really delved into and explored a main character that is aromantic and asexual, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it did a really good job of kind of bringing together a fun, lighthearted story about friendship and love while also bringing together real educational learning points for everyone to kind of learn what asexuality and aromanticism is actually about. And that's what really surprised me about this story. I thought it was very well executed, and I really liked the characters. I thought they were all very endearing, and although a lot of the book was focused on sexuality, I also think that the other topics that were discussed and everything else that happened was also really good as well. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I am super excited to read more from Alice Oseman in the future. And the last book that I read in the month of September was The Diviners by Libba Bray. Can you believe I did it? Because I'm still kind of shocked. The Diviners takes place in 1929 and it follows a huge cast of characters who all are kind of stuck in the middle of this weird haunting that is going on in New York City. People are showing up dead with these weird marks all over them and parts of their bodies missing, and it is up to these cast of characters to figure out what is going on and solve the mystery. This book was so funny, it was so entertaining, and I just really enjoyed it. I also really liked the audiobook, so if you've been wanting to start this series and have found it very daunting, which is exactly what happened to me, I highly suggest picking up the audiobook. I think a lot of the jokes wouldn't have been as funny if I was just reading them, but the way the narrator delivered them made them absolutely hilarious. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. I really enjoyed it. I'm so excited to continue. I have already taken out the next book at my library because I'm just so pumped and I need it now and I need to start reading it. I'm very excited to continue on with this series and see where it's gonna go because the author can kind of go wherever she wants and I have no idea what that's gonna be. So if you watch my September TBR, you will know that there are 2 books that got chosen that I didn't read. And one of them I actually have a good excuse for. The Death Note did not come in time from the library. It still hasn't come in. I'm still 3rd on the list, so I don't know when I'm gonna get it. But that is my excuse for that one. I was so pumped to read that book, and because it's a manga, I knew I would be able to fly through it. Unfortunately, I was unable to complete that challenge. And the other one I don't really have an excuse for because I did manage to read 4 books, so I could have read The Doubt Factory. It just wasn't what I was feeling at the time, so I'm hoping that one day I will feel in the mood to read that type of thriller novel. However, I don't see it happening in the near future. I'm trying to decide if I should make some sort of punishment system for not finishing the books that Google picks for me, especially if I own them physically, but I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet because I'm not a fast enough reader that could finish the book within the next month and read the next 4 or 5 books on top of that. What I might do is have a rule that if I don't read the book that was chosen within the next year, then I unhaul it, which is pretty reasonable and might actually force me to read the books sooner, but we will see. I haven't fully decided. Anyways, that's the end of my wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what book you enjoyed the most in the month of September. I would love to know. Mine was definitely The Lost Book of the White. It was something that gave me a lot of comfort and joy, and I hope there was a book in September that did that for you as well. If you don't feel like leaving a full-blown comment, feel free to comment a heart emoji down below. I know that sometimes I'll watch a video and don't really have anything to say, but I want the booktuber to know that I was there and watching and enjoyed the content, so leave an emoji. It makes my day, and yeah, honestly, it makes my day. I love getting comments from you guys. That is it for today. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on my Twitter, my Instagram, and my blog. I'll put all the links down below. Thanks for watching and keep on reading, guys. Bye! The next book that Google got me to read is The Lost Book of the White by Wesley Chu. And Cassandra Clare, duh. Oh my gosh.